Listen, Kate, if we have any hope of getting through this entire mess, I'm going to need your help convincing those people watching us that we need to reach 1,000 subscribers. It's going to take an army to stop that crazy Li Dang. We need an army of our own. So if there's any hope of getting out of this, we're going to need them to click that subscribe button. Otherwise, I have a feeling we're going to get stuck seeing the end way too many times. I may be lucky, but one's luck can only hold out for so long.
If you're watching this, can you please click that subscribe button? If not for yourself, then please do it for me. I just don't want to have to put up with that dreadful whining.
Alright, hello everyone, I'm here and we're going to talk about Heart of China. Now, it has been 2 months since I've played and uploaded this game. I have happened to have uploaded it right before my life got kind of busy. It was my wife's birthday, then Thanksgiving, and then Christmas. And then I took a Christmas vacation. You'd think that I would have spent time doing it over the Christmas vacation, but actually my Christmas vacation is now over and I'm back to work. But it is now the weekend. I definitely wanted to get back into doing the commentary and playing whatever I'm going to play next. I don't even know what I'm going to play next yet. The funny thing is, I did start a commentary version of this. It was shortly after I'd finished uploading it. Because I condensed, if you've watched up all my other videos, you'll know I play these games, I don't use a walkthrough, which results in typically a very long playthrough. And what I do after that for a commentary is I take it and I reduce the speed. So I basically kind of crunch it down, and so you'll see things are, the movement is sped up considerably because it is the same length. It's just being reduced in terms of how quick it's going to be. And so then I do a commentary, and then during the commentary where I may not speak about something, I'll also take those scenes and trim them even faster. So what ends up, my original gameplay, I can't even remember how long Heart of China was, but this commentary sped up currently prior to any post-editing after the commentary. It is already 3.5 hours. So, long story short, a little too late. So this gameplay was probably, 5 or 6 hours, by speed reducing it down to 3.5 hours. I had started the commentary and started doing it, and then I stopped at one point, saved it and said, okay, here's, I've done an hour of it. And I came back a few days later, did a little bit more, and then that's when life got super busy with my wife's birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, basically hanging out with friends and stuff like that during these holidays and stuff like that. So finally, long story short, too late, I am back. And again, it has been 2 months since I've played Heart of China. So we're going to see what I remember from the playthrough. Now, when Heart of China originally came out, way back in the day, I purchased Heart of China. And, if Sierra came out with a game, whether it was Sierra Dynamics, whatever, I always bought them because I was an avid fan of Sierra games. My life changed after my friend's father showed me King's Quest 1 and then showed me Lucy Larry 1. I remember the King's Quest 1 that he showed me. It was 4 colors, and you had to boot from a floppy. It was pretty crazy. But anyway, so when I purchased Heart of China when it first came out, I remember getting to a part where Lucky's plane crashes and you're out in the snow and stuff like that. I could never get past it. Now, I don't know if I kept trying, because this game, and you'll see it in this playthrough, you're going to see it in this playthrough that sometimes you die and sometimes you simply just fail, because sometimes, you just quote unquote run out of time. You don't always necessarily die, but you'll see me reaching quote unquote the end several times due to failure. And the opening intro that I did for this commentary, if you've watched my other videos of late, what I try to do for the commentary videos is kind of do something fun, where I take a segment of the game and voice over it and create my own dialogue. I did it for Quest for Glory for a few of them, and so for this one, in the opening dialogue, I talk about we're going to see the end a lot of times, and that is a reference to how many times I failed in this game. So the joke was that if you subscribe, we get an army, and we fight Li Dang together as a unified group. Normally I do the voices all by myself, including sometimes doing the female voice, which doesn't always work out so great because I don't have a really great female voice. But for Heart of China this time, a good friend of mine named Jessica, who she plays. So side note, I run a number of D&D games, which is also part of why this was probably delayed. I run a lot of D&D games, and I have dragged Jessica into just about every single game I run. And so when I was thinking of the opening dialogue for the commentary version, I knew it was going to be between Jake, who is the main character, and Kate. And so I thought, you know what, I bet Jessica would be willing to do the voice for Kate, because it's a real quick, it's not a huge commitment. It was like 4 or 5 lines, and so I asked her to do it, and she did it. So that is the intro, and I totally forgot what the point of that was. Anyway, so here we are. We're now in Heart of China, and you can see that there is a wreckage here, and there is the seagull that poops. And what's interesting is later on we'll need seagull poop, but apparently we cannot pick up that seagull poop because we don't know that we already need it. So we'll have to get another inventory item, come back to the scene, and pick up the seagull poop. I will say that some of the interface in terms of how to use items is a little bit difficult, and there's also an odd thing about how to pick up items and stuff like that, because sometimes you'll see something drop on the floor. For example, we'll see it shortly here. You know what, I'll wait till we get to it. But anyway, there's another segment where I need to use my gun, and for the life of me, I finally got my gun equipped just like that. So I was able to equip my gun, but I could not figure how to shoot something that I need to shoot, and not shoot just one of, but 2 of. If you've played this game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, so now we figured out how to equip our gun, and we have several places we can go. We can go to the dock, Lomax's, to town, and right there you can see a flyer mysteriously just kind of floating through the air, and it lands on the ground. So if you click it, just like that, a stray flyer from an import-export company. So that's all that happens when you click it. So now it looks like it's down there at the bottom, right? So this is one of the flyers that I put up last week. Wait a second, is someone tearing them down? If I catch that in, wham, I'm going to turn out the lights. So you get a pretty quick impression that he is a hothead of sorts. And so there it is down at the bottom, and you're able to click it. It's a piece of paper, and then you can see the Master's Tours Ltd, but then it's not in your inventory. So that's weird, right? So again, perhaps I should have read the manual when I played. That might have helped with some of this. But now we're in this little seedy little tavern place. And we got some people that we can talk to. Some of them are going to give you no response. Even from across the room, the man reeks of a full night of whiskey. So there's going to be stuff like that, where some people are not going to respond to you, even though you do have the talk option. However, as you might guess, this young man here behind the bar is going to talk to you. So now we know his name is Ho. And then, so we have a number of options that we can do. And the whole game operates like that. So when you talk to people, you have options you can select, as well as doing actions. So in many regards, Heart of China is almost like a choose-your-own-adventure book. Hopefully most people know what choose-your-own-adventure book is. It's like when you read a page, it says, if you want to go down the left hall, go to page 96. If you want to go down the right hall, go to page 35. So obviously those pages are not in order, so you have to flip back and forth. This is sort of how Heart of China operates. So you have different dialogue trees and different options that you can do throughout the game, and it feels very much like a choose-your-own-adventure book. And similar to the choose-your-own-adventure books, there is a lot of times where you reach a dead end. And so we've tried to talk to him. We are asking about someone, and apparently that draws a attention from some of the locals. And so we have several different options that we can choose from. So Zhao Qi is who we need to find. And every once in a while, over on the left, you're going to see that little subscribe button with the thumbs up, the subscribe button, and the Sierra logo. So if you have not already, feel free to click that like and subscribe. And by all means, if you happen to enjoy this video or any of the videos that I've done for my channel, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated if you also kind of share it. Are you on social media? Are you on Facebook, Twitter, or is it called X these days? I don't even know. If you're on any of those things, sharing it also helps because that draws more attention to it, and it's not just me talking about my channel and trying to convince people to come look at it. Alright, so finally, after a little smackdown, Qi comes out. So we remark how Qi is a very hard man to see in terms of like just trying to get to see him. And she remarks that a ninja can make themselves invisible. And so we already have a hint that Qi is potentially a ninja and has some of those skills. So now we're sharing some of the, or one of the options, we're sharing the information that there is a girl, Kate, who needs help, who has been abducted, and we've been told that Qi may be able to help us. And we explain that she's a nurse, and it's Kate Lomax, and she says that Kate has always been very nice to his people, and that he would be willing to help. And real quick, sorry, not that this is sponsored by this, but I am going to pop open a Coke Zero. However, Coke Zero, if you are listening to this, and you would like to sponsor me, I'd be glad to talk about how often I do drink Coke Zero. So as you can see, our good buddy Lucky has quite a bit of remark when his options are available. Most of them are pretty snarky. Very rarely are they very nice. And also there are multiple endings to this game, other than the failure that you'll see quite a few times as I play it. At the very end of the game, you can switch between either Jack or Kate, and there are different endings. I think in total there's 3. So there's one where Jack and Kate, things work out, Kate and Jack, things work out, and then one where Jake, things for Jake/Lucky don't work out. So those 3 options are available, and I do explore all 3 of them by the end of the game. So now what we have to do is we've convinced Qi that he can come along with us. However, he wants us to prove that it is safe to fly an airplane because people are not meant to fly, or else they would have wings. So somehow we have to prove the aerodynamics of an airplane and prove to Qi that it is something that is possible. So our good buddy Jake Lucky Masters has to figure out what to do. And you can see once we step back out here that the paper is still here. So we're going to check it out later the next day. Oh, that's the other thing. Kate's father, Lomax, is only paying us so much money. So as the days go by, we lose more and more money, and so you'll see throughout the game that days go by because we have to fly to different areas, we have to make various detours, and you'll see that money just go flying away. So now we've just mentioned, sorry, I thought it was earlier, we mentioned the airplane, and he says only birds can fly. And so now we need to prove to Qi that airplanes can fly and that they are aerodynamic. but he won't leave here. So we've got to prove it somehow to him here. Now, if you're smart, you can figure out that that paper outside that I still have not yet picked up because I didn't read the manual. Maybe I should have done that last time because you can see it's not in my inventory. We can make a paper airplane. So that's what we're going to end up doing, and we're going to show him the paper airplane. Oh, and that's one thing. I can't remember if in Heart of China it has a maximum amount of save games per directory. In the older Sierra games they did, and sometimes what you would see is you'd see the save game prompting where it says, hey, you need to replace a save game, and what I would be doing is actually I'd be alt-tabbed out. I'd take those save games, move them into a separate folder, alt-tab back, save it, and the folder is now empty. But I can't remember if I can't remember if Heart of China actually has that maximum save game. So if you actually see the save game where it looks like it's stopped, don't worry, YouTube's not buffering or anything like that. I am actually probably alt-tabbed out of the game, moving the save games into their own new folder and basically creating a new save. So that way you have the historical records of all the save games. And when I remember, what I try to do is, if you go to forums.sierrahelp.com, I upload my save games over there, because that's usually where I will first post these videos, is on the Sierra Help forums, as an admin there. So if you ever need any of these games or anything like that, like if you're interested in playing Heart of China, or if you were playing, let's say, a much more difficult game such as Codename Iceman, you can go to the forums.sierrahelp.com and search in there, and you'll probably find it. And I think Collector, who runs the Sierra Help web pages, he also puts them in the wiki pages that he hosts there on the Sierra Help pages. So, multiple options. Alright, so you can see, while I've blabbed about the save games and stuff like that and where to find them, you can clearly tell that still don't have the piece of paper in my inventory, so I've not figured out how to pick up that piece of paper. So I'm madly clicking around trying to figure out how to get that paper. And it's going to be really stupid easy when I figure it out. Essentially, you just drag it to your character. Just like that. And look at that. Now it's there. So, it's kind of weird that you can look at it, even though it's not in your inventory, technically still be on the ground. I think this is the only place where it does that too. So now we take the piece of paper, drag it over to him, and you can clearly see automatically he has made a paper airplane. And there's Ho with his arms defiantly crossed against his chest. So we got the paper airplane, and he says, alright, I'll take a load of this. And Lucky tries to explain that's a scientifically designed, engineered thing. And he says, well, it just looks like a paper airplane. The game does have a lot of fun dialogue like this, where there's a lot of good banter back and forth. So that is one thing that this game is really, really good at. I did enjoy the dialogue between the various characters, especially with how they kind of trash talk the main character quite frequently, a number of the people that you encounter in the game. It's pretty funny. So he asks, then how come airplanes crash? And then Lucky says, look, the physics is very complex. And finally he just says, here, just watch. And you chuck the airplane and it goes flying. I do think it would have been much funnier if it would have actually hit the guy in the background with the baton in his hand. If it would have hit him in the head, that would have been a little funnier. A little more accurate for how Lucky's luck seems to go. So if you've made a cool paper airplane in your life, go ahead and click that like and subscribe, and as airplane builders together, let's fly paper airplanes. And so Chi mentions, hey, maybe we should get some healing herbs before we take off. So as always, when you get a suggestion in a Sierra game, you should probably listen to it. And the same rule applies. Anything that is not nailed down, pick it up. Or at least try to, because sometimes you pick it up and it stays on that screen and you have to actually drag it to your character, as you might have to do in Heart of China. So clearly as you step in, she pretty much just ignores you. And so when you click on her to talk to her, and when it's in italics, that usually means they are thinking in their native tongue. And so you'll see when she speaks also in their native tongue that it is typically in italics. So English will typically be just the normal font. And that's the other thing. I like that he always introduces himself as, I'm Jake Lucky Masters. You've probably heard of me. Flying ace of the Great War, successful businessman, one of the most eligible bachelors in Hong Kong. And then a little pause. Don't you read the papers? And so there's Wu speaking her native tongue, and she says it again. And then you'll see that when she's talking to Chi, they'll put it in italics. Oh, and that's the other thing. You can actually switch back and forth between characters. So right now we would be able to switch back and forth between Chi and Lucky if we needed to. Just like that. So now you'll see that Chi is over to the right where he was. So now as Chi we have different inventory items. And we are able to give it to whoever. So we're just looking at the inventory, seeing what we got, what we might be needing or using. Alright, so now as Chi, you can now see that the dialogue is in italics, which means they are speaking their native tongue, and Lucky will remark every once in a while about them speaking in a language that he doesn't understand, like that. Hey, what are you guys talking about? You know, there's that type of interaction. So if you know how to speak a different language, go ahead and click that like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments, what languages do you speak? And if you've not noticed, every once in a while when that like and subscribe button floats up over on the left, I try to think of something that is currently happening in the game and apply it to how viewers may interact with that. So right now Chi's trying to say, you know what, he's not a bad guy, he wants to rescue Nurse Kate, and I'm going to go along to help. And then Chi says, this one's going to need all the help he can get. And I love that he says, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to start talking American versus start talking English. Because English is actually the proper language. American is not the language. Similar to apparently every Sierra fan favorite joke about Cedric calling it a poisonous snake rather than a venomous snake. This also happens in King's Quest II, which no one seems to care about. That the snake in King's Quest II is also called a poisonous snake rather than a venomous snake. Although, to be fair, perhaps if you eat the snake, it could technically be poisonous because of the venom? I don't know. So, basically, in talking to her, we explained that, yeah, we need some healing herbs. If she could whip up a batch, she says she could whip up a new batch, but she ran out earlier today. So she's going to make us gather some contents. And some of that includes the seagull droppings. And so Lucky says, seagull droppings? You gotta be kidding me. So, she says, seagull droppings contain mysterious curative powers. And to bring it to her, and she'll make a healing herb. And she says, run along now, I am very busy. So we know where we need to go to get the bird poop. And she's like, you have an awfully big mouth. You embarrass me in front of an old family friend. So our buddy Jake has a lot of manners to learn. And these two go back and forth quite a bit, but in the end they do end up respecting each other quite a bit. So that's nice to know. And already you can see that he's sort of already learning his lesson, that he does recognize he got out of hand. So we're going to go to the dock, and clearly that bird poop is still... Oh, but it's not. The bird poop is no longer there. Or, sorry, bird goo. Come on, birdie, do your stuff. And so you say, hey, do you got any ideas? And then she says he has a prune. And we did see that in his inventory. So I'll switch over to Chi. Click the prune. So it's interesting, like, you would think that Chi would use it because it's his. But he doesn't. You have to actually give it to Lucky, so... it does look like the drag, and there it is. It does work. So you just have to drag it. See, again, it's been 2 months since I played, so I don't remember all the playthrough. I thought I gave it to Lucky for Lucky to do it. But Chi will not pick up the bird poop. He is going to make Lucky do that, and the bird's very happy about its poop. Have you ever been pooped on a bird? If you have, go ahead and click that like and subscribe. Tell me in the comments about the time you were pooped on by a bird. Can you imagine if anyone listening to this actually does that and someone comes to the video and reads the comments about how you were pooped on by a bird, and in that moment they're wondering, why is this person sharing information about being pooped on by a bird on a Heart of China game? So that would actually be kind of funny. And finally, we get it. I believe it was right-clicking rather than left-clicking. And now you can see it over to the side, and he comments about how it's still wet. So now we are now carrying bird poo. And, you might guess... well, you know, I won't say it. So she says, so you bring Wu gold droppings? Yeah, here. It's all yours. Place in bowl. Oh, come on, Wu. You take it. Must be crazy. Wu never touch Ku. Let others do dirty work. Yeah, haha, real funny. And then she says, here, your healing herbs are ready. And then she asks if he can be trusted, and he says, Chi says I trust him. And then she says, I have something else you might want, which is a fake passport. And so she gives you a fake passport. And so he talks about how the passport wouldn't work because it looks nothing like it. And she says, well, maybe they won't check very closely, and if they do, just plead ignorance. And then she thinks to herself, that probably comes natural to you. So you can tell she's not a big fan of our main star of Jake Lucky Masters. And then, of all the things, she also has a secret map to Li Dang's fortress. So, you know, that could be potentially helpful. And I can't remember if I did it in this game, if I went back for it. So I went in through the front gate, but apparently there is also a secret passage you can take. By using the map, it'll talk about a secret entrance through the sewer, basically. Alright, so now we need to drag the items over into Jake to have them in his inventory. And now you can see that we have successfully dragged it over, and you can see there is a sewer entrance and a front gate entrance. I know for sure I did the front gate entrance. I can't remember if I went back and tried the sewer entrance later, or if I did it separately, like if I restored back and it wasn't part of the recording. If I didn't do it in this, I may just restore the game and make a separate recording where I go through the sewer and just see what that's about. Because again, it's been 2 months since I've played this, and I don't remember if I actually also did the sewer entrance thing. Alright, so now we've got Chi, we've got like the healing herbs. Now we're going to go to the airport. And we can see that there is our pride and joy, the Yankee Eagle. And there is a man sitting in front who clearly probably going to give us problems. And the immigration officer says, "Identification, please." So now we need to figure out what he needs our identification for. Or he's going to arrest us, which seems pretty aggressive since we're not doing anything. We're just asking if why he needs our identification. Like, why wouldn't we just be able to turn around and leave? Be like, oh, let me go get it. So we have two options where we say, "Relax, Jim, here's my passport," which we're probably going to give him the fake one. Or we say, "Darn, I must have dropped my wallet," which we're going to go with that one because the other passport will probably not work. And again, Jake assumes that everyone has heard of him and that he'll just go ahead through now. So, if you've had an issue at an airport, go ahead and click that like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments about a bad time you had at an airport. So Lucky and the immigration officer are bantering back and forth, and basically he's making fun of his accent. His no sounds like new, and Lucky is saying no like N-O. And through that weird dialogue, I said usually the game has good dialogue. Sometimes the dialogue is a little weird. Alright, so we're gonna fly, and meanwhile, Li Dang, you make a lovely addition to my collection of rare treasures, Miss Lomax. In time, you will learn the benefits of my admiration. So Li Dang is not a super great guy. And this was another thing that I just assumed that the game was quote-unquote loading. So this flying segment would just pass on its own, but it doesn't. It would literally sit on this flying screen until you click something to tell it to go ahead and finish its flight. Why they did this, I don't know. I mean, I guess the one benefit is if you had a super fast computer, you wouldn't see that you're flying. But I literally sat there staring at it going, wow, you know, even though this is running on a Windows 11 machine emulated through DOSBox, this is taking a long time to load. So if you've ever sat there and stared at a screen waiting for it to load, not realizing it's just waiting for you to click something, go ahead and click the like and subscribe button, and then tell me in the comments about what game you sat there and stared at the screen, which was waiting for you to click something. Alright, so after having clicked something, we're going to slow it back down. So if you've ever been to China, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button and let me know where you have been in China and tell me what it was like being there. Alright, so we have this area that we can land in. She just says careful. Like, land here, land here. Now, I just picked that middle area. I don't know what happens if you choose the other areas. Like, if you crash or if something else happens, like you get shot down. I have no idea. I just happened to pick one place, and I was able to go there. So we can see a grappling hook. We're going to take it and drag it. I also feel like that lead pipe over there, right there. It's a crowbar. It's not a lead pipe. It's an odd-looking crowbar, but we're going to go ahead and take that as well. We're going to go ahead and leave the plane. And you can see an individual approaching. Again, not all the dialogue in this game is great. And so this gentleman shows up, and we're going to talk to him. And like he says, hey, you want to make some serious cash? And he says something back in a language we don't understand, which I assume is Chinese. So we're going to switch over to Chi and have him say good morning. Good morning. And so we have some options here, like some tobacco, crops growing well, enjoying the day. And you can see how polite Chi is with everything always ending in friend. So he says, not bad, too much sun though, and so we have some more options. So of the farmlands, he says, how much does he take? And he replies back, as much as he wants. And Chi just randomly asks, would you like some tobacco? And he says, sure, thank you. And then, how would you like to get back at Li Dang? Chi asks. Revenge will not solve my problem. And so we got some options over here. No, but it's better than just being underfoot all the time. Perhaps you should think about someone other than yourself, and doing nothing will. So we have two real choices, like 1 and 3. Like number 2 does not sound like something Chi would say. And he says, no, but doing nothing, I risk nothing. Chi says, just give me your clothes. And he says, what manner of happiness is that going to bring? I only need your clothes so that I can blend in with the people. But against Li Dang, the element of surprise is critical. And then so he says, you expect me just to stand around exposed? Or am I going to wear that strange outfit of yours, which is a ninja outfit? He says, no, go to the airplane. There are pants in the back you can put on, and you can have whatever food and tobacco you want. So, it's pretty funny where this will go to next. I like that she says, hey, go easy on the donuts, because those are mine. It's hilarious that he's completely shirtless, naked, whatever, with just pants on, saying the tobacco is great. So we can see the hat, which is apparently the entirety of the man's clothes. Yep. So if you look at the farmer's clothes, you'll see that all the clothes are there. So if you take that and drag that onto Chi, now Chi is in disguise. I do really like how when they changed their clothes like that, they kind of show them off to the side actually changed. It'd be cool if their little profile down in the lower left / lower right would also change clothes, so you kind of see what they are wearing also in the profile. For Jake, all you really see is his face, and it's because Jake has such a pretty face, because everyone knows him by his face. So we head for Li Dang's fort. And we see a peasant with a cow who says, hello, can you please open the gate? And he's clearly speaking Chinese. He says, what is your business? I have a cow for the weekend feast. And the guard says, very well. Open the gate. And so now we know our way in. Sorry, we know one of the ways in. This is the way that I will eventually go in. But again, there is the other option, which is through the sewer. So now we need to give the rope to Chi so that he can basically lasso the cow. If you've ever lassoed a cow or any animal, click like and subscribe and let me know what it is you have ever lassoed, you cowboy, you. So now with the cow, we just need to go back to the front entrance. Click on the door. So he says he'll get in with the cow and throw the rope over. Alright, so now it's a plot branch. So now our man Chi is on the inside. So now when we put on the ninja costume, he's like full ninja. And so he says, perhaps I should scout around before I get lucky in here. And over in the back you can see that there are birds flying and someone's shooting an arrow at the birds. So we got a key out of here. Because you know with Sierra games, every room is there for a reason. And things you can't pick if there is something in there you can't pick up, it means you're either doing something there later or you need to just keep clicking until you find what you can pick up. So we can see a guard patrolling. Once he goes out of sight, we can get close to Li Dang. And so we see he's talking about repairs of a tank. But apparently it's running again, but there's an oil leak in the manifold. And we learn that the parts are back-ordered. So already they have heard rumors that Jake has been hired to come rescue Kate. So I don't know if you ever... you know what? Come to think of it, I bet you that's a sewer thing. Because through this gameplay, I don't think we ever managed to go to the right of Li Dang's palace. Now, having failed, and then Chi mentions throwing the rope over to let Jake in, I gave Lee both the rope and the grappling hook, so ideally that's how that's gonna work out. Because originally I just gave him the rope, and so that would have probably dead-ended me at that point. I can't remember if that would dead-end, or if there was something else that happens. Alright, so our man Chi is back on the inside, so we're going to have to repeat what we did. And as an early reminder, don't forget to save early. Save often. Because death can wait for you at any corner. So yeah, the rope and the grappling hook do work together. Alright, so we know that we have to go back, get the key. And then we know we have to go and check out inside Li Dang's palace. So first we're going to save now that we're on the inside so we don't make the same mistake again in case something goes wrong. So that looks like the wall where you would clearly throw the thing over to get Jake in here. Alright, so now we're going to take the rope and the grappling hook and drag it off to the side and then drag it to the wall. Alright, so with that, he's scaled over the wall. You don't even have to see any kind of cutscene. And she comments on how Lucky weighs as much as an ox. She mentions that the palace is crawling with guards, so they'll need to be careful. He says if we hide in the gatehouse, the guards will see us. And so from there, you can go to look at the courtyard and says, okay, it's good to go inside now. So Lucky tries to tell Chi to go out there and do some ninja stuff. Chi says he could probably do it if he was alone, but since Lucky's here, Chi has to hang out with him and make sure he is safe. So now it's a matter of trying to figure out which way to go from here, because now guards are coming out as well. So before, when it was just Chi, it was just that guard to the left. Now the right thing to do, naturally, here is to save, because we don't know which way we're going to go. We don't want to have to bring him back inside, so... Now, mention that this is intense. Halt. Well, with grim determination, you two fight, but you're overcome. The end. Again, not the first time we're going to see the end. Get ready for that for sure. So no guards visible. Now we're in a weird room. So we notice that when we click on the lamp, there was a little side arrow. Okay, so the end. So, okay. So we knock down the lamp, but do not go right. Now they mention a fire. And now there's a dog. So now we have to deal with the dog. And there is a hole next to the oven over there that you can see. My guess is that's where you come in from the sewer. And if you give it to the dog devours it very quickly and continues growling. And it even gives you a little hint there. Drink enough of this and you'll go to the dogs. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the dog bowl. And we wait, and the dog is drunk and passed out. So again, it's the end. Bottle to the dog. Dog goes to sleep. Take that little side door. Find a place to hide. Go out the room. So they go to about how they inform them that we've infiltrated it, and Li Dang is very, very upset. And the alarm has been rang. And you can see there are 2 snakes. Now, this is what I was talking about when I was trying to figure out how to shoot the gun. So I figured out how to arm it, but I could not figure out how to shoot these snakes. By the way, I think it's right click and then left click on the snakes, in case you're trying to do it yourself. And even though a like and subscribe notification did not pop up on the side, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button if you also had trouble trying to figure out how to shoot Jake Master's gun. And let me know what other games you've had difficulty with where the UI seemed a little wonky. Especially if it's a Sierra or Dynamics game. But for the sake of fun comments, it does not have to be limited to that, because I don't know how many times I saw the hand icon that you're seeing there, and apparently Jake thinks he can reach for the snake rather than shoot it. But you know, it's whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and speed up this part again. If you died multiple times during Heart of China, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button. And if you can remember, tell me where it is you died the most. Was it here with the Cobra, or was it somewhere else? Remember during the intro where I said we see the end a lot of times? In case you thought I was kidding. Here is one of the few places, many places, that this happens repeatedly. And finally, we figured out how to shoot. However, the second snake does bite Kate, so there is nothing that can be done about that except for shooting that snake also. But that is after the fact, so you're going to have to grab Kate and figure out what to do next. First, you have to escape, naturally. And then from there, we need to find out how to heal Kate. You're going to take the rope for the curtain. She says, hurry up, I'll hold off the guards, and you get down the balcony with Kate. And so in true Indiana Jones fashion, which is, I'm pretty sure what this game was trying to capture, he does the cool little swing down off the edge, while Chi is up there fighting. There I am being really saucy about saving the game as hold right click. So that is how you shoot the gun. And here is the tank that we're going to jump into. She says, I don't think this is a good idea, but this is truly our only escape. And what follows next is a arcade sequence. Now, the good thing is, if you fail so many times, the game will let you skip. And I think I can't remember how many times. And there's a few times where I thought I got pretty close. But there's a part where a guy crosses in front of us with his cows and we have to pause. And I don't think I figured out how to get past that, because I ended up side roading off to the left after that. And I thought, oh, okay, well, this is how we do it. And still, things don't go quite right. It's also not very clear how to start the tank. But there we go, tank crash. So we have the option immediately to skip the arcade or play the arcade sequence. And the good thing is, if you play it a few times, it will eventually let you bypass it if you keep failing. So we're going to give it a swing, and it goes horribly. So I'll probably speed this part up as well. Because at first I'm thinking, oh, we just need to drive the tank. It should be fine. There's another tank in front of us. So then we have to figure out how to shoot it. Except for it shoots you. So replay the arcade, yes or no. And And he says, "Go, Lucky, there's a tank behind us." Now, the thing is, they were talking about trying to fix the tank. So how do they have a tank behind us as well as a tank in front of us, plus the tank that I am driving? That's literally 3 tanks that they had, and they were just complaining about trying to fix a tank. Anyway, we're gonna probably speed through this tank sequence process real quick. So there you can see it says, "Win arcade or keep trying." I love that it says, "I'm frustrated" at the top. So thankfully, once mastered where to shoot, it only took 1 shot to take down the tank. Similar to the tank when it's shooting at us, it only takes 1 shot. Now, if you've actually beat this tank sequence, let me know in the comments where I went wrong. Because I continued following the path, and then it veers to a left or a right, and I went left. Because I feel like right would take me right back to the village. And up ahead you can kind of see a bridge here, which I thought, okay, maybe that's the bridge I need to cross. It's very primitive. And she says, "Wait, stop." And it pretty much seems right after that I cannot pass where that happens at. So I don't know if staying on that same road is the right way to go, or if off-roading like what I did is the way to go. So definitely appreciate it in the comments if you know how to win this tank sequence. So there you can see I finally decided to win the arcade sequence after trying a few times. And we arrive at the airplane. So now we learn that we have to go to Nepal, because that's the only place that has the antidote, the snake anti-venom, in regards to the snake that has bitten Kate. So now we have to do another side track. Now we see that there is a heart, now that we got Kate. And so we see Jake is like thinking about her, and says, you know, she's far more spicy than he would have anticipated, being the daughter of some high-end exec. While she comes to, she's trying to think of what happened and how this brave and honorable and even cute knight, who is a knight in shining armor, has saved her. So if you've ever been to any of these areas, click like and subscribe, and tell me where you've traveled in the world. And then, wouldn't you know it, we're out of gas. And so we have to make an emergency landing right on the edge of a cliff. And prior to playing this for my YouTube channel, this is as far as I remember getting. Everything that happened after this, when I was playing it for my channel and eventually got past it, I did not remember. This is as far as I remember, is right there, Kate laying against the airplane. And there are a number of things you can do here as to who's going to go, what order you're going to do things in terms of putting a blanket on her and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's where I got stuck, or if because I'm sure I probably did not read the manual when I first got Heart of China, and had already been suffering some kind of psychotic breakdown from trying to figure out how to use the gun in Heart of China against the snakes. So I don't know if by that point, when I got here and died multiple times, if I was just done with the game. I said I'd come back to it, and then like another game came out, and then I just never got back to it. But this is as far as I remember ever have gotten when I first purchased the game. And so the thing with my YouTube channel is I have been trying to go through games that I have beaten 1,000 times, such as King's Quest, Lucia Larry, Police Quest, all of those. But also take on games that I don't remember ever having finished. For example, Codename Iceman, which I discussed earlier, is one of the most difficult games Sierra has ever released. And the thing is, with Codename Iceman, I dislike some of the mechanics in it. They are very, very quick to punish you in the submarine, for example. I dislike the fact that during the gambling session for the bottle on the submarine, they disable how many times you can save and restore before the game pretty much calls you a cheater. It's like they put in a lot of effort to take out the fun of what would have made Codename Iceman a otherwise wonderful game. Because once you get past all of that, Codename Iceman is actually a really fun game. Like, if you can get past the subsequence, which includes all the diving and the missiles not working and things not being aligned and fixing various parts on the submarine, which apparently you have to do it all because you know how to do everything, as well as making sure you had picked up the earring to decipher the other code, so you have everyone's code. If you take out all of that the game really tried to make you fail. Like, there was a part where you go into the Pentagon, you give a guard your ID to proceed, and then when you come out, he mistakenly hands you the wrong ID, which once that happens, if you try to go back to get your regular ID, you can't. Because the guard at the front says, hey, I need your ID, and you won't have it, and the ID you have is the incorrect one. And you just dead end. So the game made a lot of effort with Codename Iceman to try to dead end you, but once you get past all of that, the game is actually quite enjoyable. Another game I'd never managed to finish until I did it for my channel was another game called Lighthouse. I did not get very far at all in the game called Lighthouse when I first purchased it, because back then, again, if it was Sierra, if it had Sierra's label on it, I didn't care, I bought it. I may know nothing about the game, but I bought it. And for my channel, I ended up doing everything I could to beat Lighthouse, and the game is ridiculously difficult. A lot of the clues don't make sense. It's like they tried to make their version of Myst with additional like movements and a little more full motion video type stuff in there. But not only that, but the GOG version that I had ended up having a bug where there's a part where you have to turn the train, and the train would not turn no matter what I did. And so what I had to do is actually restore way back, and basically then switch over from using I believe it was DOSBox I was originally using, to switching over to ScumVM to basically finish my game. It only tainted the experience that I hit that bug. And when I reported it to GOG, and I sent them my save games, they were mystified. They didn't know what was causing it or how to fix it. And so I didn't want to wait because I was doing it for my Sierra channel, so I ended up essentially just restarting almost all the way to the beginning to use ScumVM, because once you use DOSBox, you can't use ScumVM. The two save games won't work. And vice versa, if you use ScumVM, DOSBox won't be able to work. So it's one or the other. And so I think there was someone on the Sierra forum who had their save games, and I just restored almost all the way back just so I could redo it all. So that additionally tainted my any enjoyment I would have gotten out of Lighthouse. I did not enjoy that game. So everyone who says that Codename Iceman is the most difficult game, it's the worst game Sierra ever made, I will counter that with saying that Lighthouse is the worst game Sierra ever made. Sorry. King's Mask of Eternity might be, but Lighthouse is one of the worst games Sierra has ever made, and clearly the most difficult. Anyone who says otherwise has not played Lighthouse. Alright, so anyway, back here. So, you have to do this in order. One of them is setting up the tarp, the other one is putting her in a blanket. and then giving her the medicine. If you don't do that in the correct order, you are going to see the end. And so our buddy Jake, this time he doesn't die if you do it in the correct order, which is funny. Because if Chi does the things in the right order, Jake doesn't die. If Chi does it in the wrong order, Jake dies. So, having done it in the right order, Jake is found by someone and brought to a village where he meets up with Chi and the person who is also taking care of Kate. And here you can see Lucky is definitely starting to grow a large heart, because he's talking about how while he's trudging through the snow, he was thinking about Chi and Kate, and he didn't want to leave them there freezing, and that he would have never made it this far without them. And then what he says is, what I mean to say is, thanks, partner. Chi, Mr. Ninja Man. So you can tell he is sincere, but then, he still tries to, once he realizes he's being sincere, returns back to that kind of sarcastic guy that he normally is. And this is where we meet Amma. After Jake fell unconscious, it was Kubaya, the shepherd boy, who found Jake and ran to Amma's for assistance. And it was essentially Amma who basically found Jake then, and then found Chi and Kate by following Jake's tracks back from the airplane. And she says, "Shush now, you blow so much steam you fog up my windows. It was a little boy who saved you." So he asks if his masks and cape are dry because he is the masked Avenger. She's like, "I don't know anything about your mask or your cape, but your undies should be dry." As you can see, he still has his attitude when he's like, "You haven't heard of me? Well, let me tell you about me. Go ahead and get a pen and paper and write down Jake Masters, the beginning of a legend." And so she's trying to explain, "Well, I have more important things to do, like try to cure your friend." And you can see that Lucky is telling a story while Chi and Amma look on with very little interest. So, if you've ever been susceptible to someone telling a story that you're just not interested in, let me know in the comments. Not susceptible. If you were ever a target, of someone's non-interesting story, let me know in the comments. What was the story about that you really didn't care about? Hopefully you don't put this YouTube channel's commentary. So now we've been given instructions to go see someone of great importance. So you can bet that good old Jake Masters' mouth is going to get us in trouble, as we are off to go find someone else now. Once outside, Chi says, "Hey, do you smell that?" And he's like, "No, it's your musk." And Chi says, "No, I think I smell donuts." And so Jake says we need to find some petrol, which is fuel, and then find some people to help turn the plane around because it is currently facing the edge of a cliff. Alright, so we go back towards that place and we see that Kate is actually sitting up. And already, Jake is clearly ruining any chances with Kate because she says, "You are nothing like a knight in shining armor." He says, "Well, I saved you," and she says, "You played a role." Chi then takes note that there is a big storm coming this way. So now we know we only have so much time before that big storm is gonna make things bad for the plane. And if something happens to the plane, it is the end. Now what's funny is I remember that something happens. I think the storm comes and hits the town before I'm able to get everything that I need, so we end up seeing the end. And so this teller that we're talking to about sending a message, I think when I go back, I actually don't end up going to the teller. I end up, because I'm concerned about time running out, don't go back to them. And so we can see it's not mandatory, so this doesn't really keep track of points, so I don't know what that does or doesn't do if you don't do it. I was still able to beat the game. We do see this kid is sitting on some petroleum. Alright, so now we are making our way up towards the special person that we need to see for some additional help here. And is none other than the llama. And Jake, being his standard Jake self, really doesn't have the charisma to properly address, not even charisma, I would say respect, to address him. So after we foobar that, he pretty much just sits there and meditates. And pardon me, again, not being sponsored by Coke Zero, but that would be another Coke Zero. Alright, so now we're going to head over into the local inn. See if we can get a little help over here. And there is a gentleman here by the name of Sadar, who we will need to perhaps get a little intoxicated and get on his good side to see if he might help us, because he's someone with a name. So if Sierra tells you anything, pick up anything that isn't nailed down, search every room, and if someone has their own name, they probably have something for you, or something to tell you. So we basically explained we're trying to free the village from the evil Li Deng. And he may help us, but he may not. So we're going to return back to the llama, see if we can try to get some further information from him. So he talks about how he's had a vision. And here is a note on the petroleum. It says, "No petroleum for you." So that's not good. And there's the kid as well. So the kid says he wants something in exchange for the petroleum. And if you try to do the gunfight, it doesn't go well. So, even after Lucky mocks the llama, he realizes he's made a mistake. And once again, he will not talk to us. So we're going to have to go back, sort things out. And right there's a storm on the mountains. And I'm pretty sure I spent a while being stuck here. But I feel like we're getting further because now we see Li Deng giving a different command about search the world until you find them. So things seem to be going in the right order. So we need help from the caravan, and once again we are with Sadar, who's pretty much like get lost. And we learn that Sadar does not like strangers. The bartender even gives a hint. What would you do for friends at a bar? And Chi even gives a hint. When it pours whiskey, it rains words. But the bartender won't talk to us, so I'm not sure how we get to buy drinks for folks. And finally Chi says, you know what, I'll spring for it. And then everyone is drinking, and Sidar seems far more susceptible now. So we learn that the caravan is not leaving for 3 months, and obviously that's not going to work for Jake, because every day that goes by, more money disappears out of his pocket for the reward of returning back with Keat. So once again, we've offended the llama, and he says, I'll pray for you, but nothing's going to get you past your mouth. So we tell the kid that he can't come with us, but he's left a note that says, no petroleum for you, and now we have to find the kid. And she says, I don't want to talk to the boy. And then she demands that we apologize. And he says he wants something tangible. So now we need to find out what he wants. If it's not been made abundantly clear by now, should be obvious by now that I'm clearly not using a walkthrough. Because while I was playing this, I could not figure out what it is this kid wanted. And there it is. The storm came and has destroyed the plane. And so we reach the end. So it's assumed that that is technically potentially a fourth ending, that Jake and the rest of them leave after 3 months when the snow is passed with the caravan crew and successfully make it. But then Jake gets no reward money for any of it. So I guess that's technically potentially a fourth ending, because he doesn't really die, and you see him riding on the mule with the caravan. So I suppose that is another ending, it's just not the right ending. So yet, what looks to be another ending, but it's not. So you go there, tell them that you're plumbers and that the toilet sinks, more money goes flying by, and he lets you out of jail. But don't worry, because you were in jail, the storm came and destroyed the plane, so it's still an ending, just not the good ending. I should do a pop quiz at the end of the video that says, how many times did the word "the end" appear in the game? And whoever gets it right gets some kind of prize. I don't have any kind of prizes to give, but that would be funny because the words "the end" appear so many times in this game, which again is why I made the custom intro about like, hey, if we don't get 1,000 subscribers, we're going to see "the end" way too often. And if you're wondering why that intro, now that we're on there and we're just seeing the same things basically repeat themselves since I'm restoring here. If you're wondering what the 1,000 subscribers is because at 1,000 subscribers you can actually monetize your YouTube channel. And it'd be kind of cool to be able to monetize this channel and make a little bit of, even if I hit 1,000 subscribers, the amount of money I would probably make from this channel would be very, very little, because I don't have all those other people who have 3.6 million subscribers or whatever. I am just struggling to try to get to 1,000. So whatever money I did make would probably be pocket change. But back in 2020, I've mentioned this before, but my wife had health issues, and currently she's no longer able to work. She's on disability, so now I am the sole income, and she used to be the breadwinner in the family, so now it's up to me. So any extra money I can make anywhere, even if it's pocket change, like these days we're recycling cans and stuff like that, so any extra money that I can make, even if it's trivial, I'd gladly take it. So that's why I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, to basically be able to monetize this channel. And what I'd like to do if I do get to 1,000 subscribers, eventually try to see if I can get some of the Sierra creators to come on and maybe just do some really quick interviews and stuff like that. I think that'd be kind of fun to do. I just don't want to do it before then, because I want to have a channel that looks like it's worth it. You know what I mean? I don't want to bother Allo, Scott Murphy, Mark Crow, Roberta and Ken, whoever else, Lori and Corey, all these people, Christy Marks, who I happen to now have on Facebook, which is incredible. I don't want to bother them and say, will you do an interview if my channel isn't big or whatever. So I'm hoping to hit 1,000 subscribers and at least say, hey, at least I have 1,000 subscribers, would you mind coming on and, maybe doing a fun interview, super short, whatever. So that's my goal, 1,000 subscribers, and hopefully just keep growing from there, but I want to reach that 1,000 first. Anyway, having said all that, as you can see, I've made no progress in the game. We're still where we were, trying to figure out how to buy this dude another round without Chi having to interrupt. See, it's unclear how to buy a round for people. Like, I'm trying to give them money and stuff like that. Oh, there you go. That worked. Because last time it was Chi who had to step in. So we're right back where we were, where he says, yeah, I'll gladly take you, whatever, but you have to wait 3 months. That is one thing about this game, is it is very easy to feel like you're stuck in a perpetual loop, trying to figure out what the right course of action is in the right order. Again, that's why in some regards this game does remind me of a choose-your-own-adventure game. You have to do the sequences in the right order, or you're going to reach the end, and not the good, the end. So he explains that he has had a vision, and that we shall help basically free the people in this area. And that the guy who threw us in jail earlier, he has a sacred scroll that we need to get a hold of. And that this guy is using that scroll to exploit people's fears. So now we have more information. We seem to be headed in the right way now. And I apologize if you can hear one of my dogs barking in the background. So now we tell the kid that that's good, and he gives us the hose this time to basically siphon petroleum, is what I'm guessing. So it's interesting that if you tell Kabbalah that he can't go, when you go back to the house where Kate is at, she says to apologize to Kabbalah, but if you tell Kabbalah he can go, Amma says that she forbids it. So it's like you can't win. So now we come here to tell Sidar that we've learned about the Sacred Scroll, and that we're here to basically get it back. And Sidar doesn't seem very confident in our skill, which is rude. So he's concerned that if they rebel, because he also has a gun, that they will burn the Sacred Scroll. And Jake is like, hey, we're not even guaranteed tomorrow, so, what should we do? Just bury our heads in the sand? He's like, well, why would you do that? And so it goes back and forth about, hey, you can stay here and live in misery and live in fear, because he'll hold that Sacred Scroll over your head the entire time, or we can do something about it. And Sidar finally says he understands and that his heart beats with courage. So we're definitely gonna save now, because this game is sort of like Groundhog's Day, where you can get stuck in a loop or feel like you're in Inception. So we're saving now that we feel like we're making some progress here. Now we give the gun to him, and they go basically after the guy. His guard goes for the gun, but Qi kicks his gun out of his hands. And now, Sidar and the others have overtaken and regathered the sacred scroll. And to be clear, I'm saying scroll, not skull. And so we now have the petroleum, we now have Sidar's crew helping us turn the plane around. So we are ready to go into the next area. So after getting the newspaper, we see we can't go back to Hong Kong, now we have to go to Paris, which is going to cost us another 20G out of the reward. And that means refueling at Istanbul. So everyone waves farewell, and we are flying off to Istanbul. We can check our heart meter, see where we are with Kate. She's sitting in the front seat, and I love that Qi is in the back seat with this big wide smile. Kate seems pretty dubious about Jake. But in the end, she says, "Kate, don't you make excuses for that cute man." And then she says, "Wait, did I say cute?" Cute. Ha, Jake Masters, well, he's nothing. But, well, he is kind of cute. And while Jake Masters thinks of her, what a shrew. I can't believe the way she treated me. For crying in the beer, I'm out there taking on abominable snowman. And then he's complaining that she doesn't give him any credit. And then he thinks, does she realize who I am? And then again, even to himself, lucky Jake Masters, great war flying ace. Have you ever been to Istanbul? If you have, click that like and subscribe button. Let us know what it was like. Never been. So we can see as we go to land in Istanbul, it switches from Jake and Qi to being Jake and Kate. And as you can see, with me saving everything in all caps, we made it to a new area with a smiley face. You can tell I was definitely feeling like I was stuck in a loop in the other place. So he gives her some cash, and she assumes it's payment for other services, which is not the case. He's just trying to get her to have some money. And so Lucky asks, "Where can I get some gas around here?" "I'm not authorized to sell you fuel without airport management present." So he's willing to make a deal, but it also includes giving up Kate. And so she mentions, calling her father so that, Lucky can try to get a better deal. And so we learn that there is a phone in the British club. So we just need to make our way there. I'm sure nothing's going to go wrong. And Qi says, "Yeah, you know what? You two just go ahead and go by yourselves. I don't feel like being a third wheel." And so we find out that something happened here with Jake and someone's daughter. So clearly something is about to happen. So you can tell Li Deng's men are closing in because they're going after the area that we just left. Now, I will say that when you play this game with this guy, you're going to want to slow down your machine. And you can do that through DOSBox. Because at first I left it just at the regular playing speed, and trying to follow where the bean or whatever it is under the walnut is almost impossible. At least it was for me. So what I ended up doing is slowing down DOSBox so that it became very, very clear as to where it was. You'll see that when it happens. You'll see me fail a few times before I decide to finally slow down DOSBox. Or slow down the game as well. So, Jake was incorrect. The guy does remember what happened between Jake and the daughter, and Jake is arrested. And when Kate tries to talk to him, says he's very busy, can't talk today. Come back in 3 months. 3 months always seems to be the answer for the NPCs who are unwilling to help you. So above the sign it says the Old Gentleman's Club, no women allowed, and the soldier guarding the door will not let you in. So there is another person over here standing off to the left that we will probably also talk to. And it looks like there's a train station over here where we can buy some tickets. We could probably just leave without Jake, and I think that is actually one of the options if you choose to leave without him. But it goes poorly for Jake if you do that. So I guess that's technically maybe another ending? See, so we see that Lucky's luck has run out as he finds himself strung up. So this guy has a shop where there are a number of different items you can buy. And I think I bought extra stuff that I just didn't know if I'd be using or not. So I think I ended up eventually, when I come back around to him, with a bunch of extra stuff that I don't think ever gets used. And there you go. So that is one of the potentially alternate endings as well, but not the good ending. So we're going to go through all this again, and I'll probably just keep quiet and speed through it. Okay, so earlier I talked about how you'll see the save game paused, and it looks like the Heart of China does have a limit. So while it was paused there, what was actually happening is I was alt-tabbed out, moving it to its new folder, so that the save game folder would actually be empty. So that way, if I need to restore further back, or if I need to upload these games, they're all there. So when you go to the Gentleman's Bar and try to call Lomax to make a better deal, he responds poorly to the fact that you have not yet brought his daughter home, and that for some reason you're off in some other country going in the wrong direction. Even though the like and subscribe button didn't appear, have you ever gone to a different country and gone into a shop and bought a little extra stuff that you clearly did not need, but you just bought it because you were in a foreign country and it was something you'd not seen before? If you have, go ahead and smash that like and subscribe button and let me know in the comments what it is you purchased and where you were. Alright, so here's the thing with placing the bets. Now again, the game right now is being sped up because it was originally like whatever, 5 or 6 hours, I don't even remember the original playthrough. So it is sped up right now, so this is going to happen a lot faster. But even if you watch the regular playthrough, you'll see that it moves pretty quick. Right now it's moving insanely fast because it's actually being sped up. So what I ended up doing after losing numerous times is actually slowing down the game through DOSBox as well as through the game itself. That made watching the bean much, much easier. Side note, if you lose and end up owing him money, you end up with a bad ending with her being a dancer to pay off her debt for a very, very long time. I think now is where the game is slowed down because it looked like his hand gesture was even slower, and the bird that was flying over the top also looked a little bit slower. And even the mouse movement, moving it from left to right, seems to be slower. So this may be where I slowed down the game through DOSBox to help make it manageable to see where the P is. And the fact that I'm willing to just risk it all tells me that I slowed down the game. And you can tell even sped up the way that shell moved. It's very slow. And see, it's very, very, very slow. So now you can see that it's much easier to keep my cursor on the shell that currently has the P in it. So when he asks, it's much easier. Even when he tries to be tricky and move it around, it's still very, very easy to keep an eye on the P. Have you ever played a game like this? If you have, click like and subscribe and tell me where and when you've played, and was it for a bet? Alright, so now we've won as much as you possibly can from him, which is 360. And now we're going to save again, and then restore the amount of CPU cycles through DOSBox. So my recommendation, if you are playing Heart of China and you get to this part, definitely use the CPU cycles in DOSBox to slow it down. See, this is where I think I purchased like a lot of things that I may or may not have needed. So we're just catching up to where we were before, so we just bought a train ticket. We're going to see another cutscene where Jake is not having the best day. Now, I will say this, that's something I thought that was really cool about this game, is similar to kind of like Lose Shoot Larry, where you switch between Larry and Passionate Patty. I thought it was really cool that we had a scene where clearly Jake, does the whole Indiana Jones and swings off the ledge and saves her. But now we have the opportunity as Kate to turn around and save Jake. So I thought it was kind of cool that we got to play a woman who now turns around and gets to be the hero. And you can see after those events have happened, things out in the front gate have changed. The guy is back. The guy who sells camels is back. As well as the orange stand was up, and if you click on it, things fall over, and you can basically talk to these children and get some help. And so he has a rare flower that he won't sell, but he will give to Kate as a gift. And so it looks like I may have spent too much money, because now I can't afford a camel. And now he is no longer an option to click on. So we're gonna have to restore. So since the previous guy mentioned the hacksaw, we're just gonna go with hacksaw first. I was thinking like the turban and the sitar and the hoopak, that's Dragonlance. The hookah were all for potentially creating a disguise, but since the other guy previously mentioned the hacksaw, we're just gonna go with hacksaw first. Go buy our ticket, save again, and take another swing at trying to get out of here. So now that we have only bought the hacksaw, we come back, do the thing with the oranges, get the flower from the young boy, and now we're able to afford a camel from the camel vendor. So now we just need to figure out how to save Jake, which we're going to do next. Now it was interesting because the click over to the left was an accident when I first played this. I thought it was the same as clicking south, so I was really surprised when I found the screen, but it makes sense because I couldn't figure out where to go next. And it's very clear that Almera is how I pronounce it. She may be a little bit on the crazy side, but she is useful. So she says, yeah, so Kate Lomax could get her man if we helped her. And so she basically alludes to the fact she knows where Lucky is being held. And so if you offer her the flower that we just got from out front, she will gladly help you in assisting. So you can either say that's a fair trade, why on earth would I want to do that? And it's so crazy that there was a camel in my inventory. Now it's funny because when she mentions her pretties and stuff like that, it's not like there's a lot of flowers around her or a garden. So that could have been made more clear that she is referencing plants. And so she says, I'll help you, but you need to find something that can cut through those bars. And so she clearly has some kind of chemical thing that you can try, but obviously the hacksaw that we previously were hinted at purchasing is the way to go. So if you've ever used a hacksaw, go ahead and click that like and subscribe and let me know how you used a hacksaw in your day-to-day life. And it better not be for any kind of dismemberment. So then with the camel, what we're going to do is we're going to move Almera's cart over so that Kate can get up there, saw through the iron bars, which probably take a long time, and then use the camel to pull it loose. And so she's gotten through. And she says, if you think you can just hang there looking innocent and everything will be forgotten, you got another thing coming. I don't know if this is the time to be discussing that. Probably get him free first and then, get out through the thing and then ride away on the camel. And so there is Kate rescuing Jake as they escape on the camel. And so once they get outside of the city, she gives the camel to the young boy whose orange stand she knocked over. And the kid is pretty flirty, saying, hey, the camel's a blessing, but the true blessing is getting to see you again. So Jake compliments her on her giving the camel to Hakim. And she's like, you know what, don't even try to get on my good side. And, Jake is like, no, seriously. I am sincere in telling you that was a really nice gesture. And she's like, you're just trying to be nice just because I saved you. And so she's not really buying it from Jake, but it does seem like he is trying to be sincere. Because one of the options is, look, I'm serious about what I said about your hair. I mean, Hakim, don't you think she looks great? I don't know if having recently escaped a prison is a really good time to be standing right outside the city gates discussing it, even though they said no one is coming. Wouldn't take long, I imagine, for a guard to notice that his prisoner is not there and that he would do everything he could to find him to make sure he doesn't get busted for being the one who was on guard and let the prisoner escape. Now, originally that scene made me very, very upset because you see the airplane get destroyed and you see Chi's body just tossed aside. And like he says, he's gone, Kate. We need to escape. And you can see that Li Deng's men are quickly approaching. So they blow up Master's plane. If you go out first, they find you immediately. So you have to go back inside. And they'll blow up the plane and seemingly kill Chi. So we know we have the alternate route of the train because Kate bought the train tickets. Now hopefully she bought it before the rescue, because if you go there after the rescue, there is a note saying, hey, I'm out to lunch. And so we're at another plot branch and they're escaping, but you can see someone on a horse riding next to it, and it's none other than, I think his name is Tong. In the heart, you can see that we played the scene as Lucky or Kate, so we're going to go ahead and do Lucky first. So during this scene, you're essentially Lucky talking to Kate, trying to basically get on her good side, ideally. When you flip it, you are Kate talking to Lucky, trying to talk to him and figure out how sincere he truly is. And then it'll flip back to Jake, and there is a arcade sequence that you would technically need to slow the CPU down through DOSBox, because it flies by pretty quick. So if you've ever ridden on a train, go ahead and click that like and subscribe. Tell me in the comments where you went and how was the train ride? How long was it? Where did you go? What did you do? And in the event you are wondering about those little like and subscribe things that come up on the left-hand side over the Sierra logo, that include also the Sierra logo when they appear, those I randomly place into the game. After I make the video, I just drop them randomly without looking at where I'm dropping them. And the idea is, while I'm commenting, if they pop up, to try to say something that kind of, whatever that scene is, try to suddenly inject dialogue that is related to whatever's happening currently on the scene. So that's why that is there. And it's random, so I may be talking about something, then suddenly to say something like, oh, tell me about the last time you rode on a train, because the like and subscribe thing popped up while they were on a train. I don't say it for every single time that it does, but if there's something while I'm talking that I think of as I see it. I will try to inject some form of conversation that is related to the appearance of the like and subscribe. Just like that. But I already talked about riding a train, so I'm going to go ahead and skip it. And so the conversation is pretty easy to manage with Jake when I switch over to Kate. That took some effort. But you'll see. But first we're going to potentially do I think I do one quick one where I do the arcade sequence, and I think I switch over to Kate. Now I'm going to say, like I said before, you need to slow this down, because look how fast the background is going. And you have your life, you have your ferocity, and you also have to be ready to duck. And it's not just, like ASDF, you actually have to click the duck button, or the rest. So you can see how many times I've died by hitting the cavern. Happens a lot. I think I ended up, after I switch over to Kate, I think I end up trying about 4 or 5 times before I finally say, just go ahead and skip the arcade sequence. So if you skip, you see that they manage to jump out, and the train, for whatever reason, explodes. And then you two kiss, and she says, not bad. And the heart is no longer blue like ice, it's red, and then there's Paris. And, Lomax is like, Princess, you're safe. And he says, so, yeah, you remembered to bring your checkbook? Well, Masters, I want to talk to you about that. But not right now. Kate and I are going home. And there it is. She says, Father, you're not going to manipulate my future husband. And so Lomax freaks out. Future husband? Masters, no. You will not marry him. I'll do as I please. Thank you very much, says Kate. And this time it is Masters who punches him. And so he agrees to pay Masters. And Kate says, I never dreamed things could turn out so perfect. And Lucky says, what can I say? I mean, I feel the same way. And then there's a knock-knock. And Kate says it must be room service. Lucky yells, the door's open. And sure enough, room service comes in, but they look shocked. Who could it be? Oh my god. Crunch. It is none other than Chi. He did survive the explosion. But I'll tell you, when that first happened, I was kind of upset. And he explains, we ninjas, we bend, but we don't break. And so everyone's happy. Lucky, Kate, and Chi. Finally, a positive, the end. But wait, there's more. That's right, if you click like and subscribe, we're going to go ahead and jump back. And we're going to do it from Kate's point of view. Well, who are you kidding? Who am I kidding? Even if you don't click like and subscribe, I'm about to play as Kate right now and try to do her dialogue and see if we can get a positive ending through hers. I believe it takes about 3 attempts to get the positive ending through Kate, meaning I apparently do not know how to play as a woman very well. So now we're going to do the dialogue from Kate's point of view, and so what you're going to do is you're going to see Kate looking at Jake versus previously it was Jake looking at Kate. Now it's Kate looking at Jake. And like I said, I think it took me 3 tries to get the positive ending, because you get all the way to the end and then you discover it was not a good ending, because Jake can end up pretty much in an alleyway, down on his luck, broke, because Lomax does not honor the deal, and so Jake ends up with no planes, no business, no nothing. Have you wondered about everyone else who was on that train when it exploded? What happened to them? They all must have died, right? So seeing the bad ending, Kate warns her dad that Jake is about to punch. And you get a thing where you lost everything. A human life wastes away. So anyway, it's like this, and the end. So once again, that dialogue tree gave us a bad ending. So I think it's finally on this third attempt that I finally get it right. And so you can tell this one ends well because she proposes the toast before the guy shows up, which is what happened with the good dialogue with Jake. You know, in hindsight, if I'd probably finished the sequence, I could probably tell, but it looks like they're on the back of the train and they dislodge the train that Tong is on, and that's why it explodes. So he's on just a little small piece of the train, which makes way more sense because they're on the train there. Never mind. It only took getting to the very, very end of this and having played this game 2 months ago and forgetting all of this to know, hey, that's what happened. It'd be cool if you did the skip sequence, they kind of show that. Because it looks like they jumped off the train the way he's holding her. But it looks like she dislodges the train piece so that Tong is stuck on his own piece. So it'd be cool if they did like a little scene to show that's what's happening. And once again, we see that Chi shows up. And we get a happy ending. So, overall, I ended up really enjoying this game. I didn't talk as much as I normally do because it had been 2 months since I played it. And if you notice, when I talked the most was all the parts where prior to the plane crash that I was most familiar with. So after that, a lot of it, since I'd only played it that one time, a lot of it's not stuck in my head. So if you like it, please click like and subscribe, and please share. Thank you for spending the time with me today. Alright, bye. Save early, save often.